morning. You know, as a student back in my school days, my younger school days, I wasn't the greatest hearer. I could listen for a while, but I didn't always hear. I think one of the things that we often struggle with is hearing very well. Now, that's not to say we need hearing aids, rush out to check that I'm saying the right thing in the subtitles, but I think we often listen without hearing frequently because we're so busy. We're so worried about the next thing or responding to whatever's being said that we don't take time to truly hear a person. You know, one of my favorite things that Jesus would often say after his teachings is, "He who has ears, let him hear." Another way of thinking of that is maybe Jesus is saying, you've got ears, learn to use them. I think one of the things Jesus is really saying to us is we need to learn to hear not only one another, but God. You know, we're coming up on Lent. It's a time of year where we often think about giving up something frivolous in our lives, something small, to say we fast for Lent from things. And that's not necessarily a bad start. But I think oftentimes we neglect to realize the power that fasting really has, coupled with prayer and spending time with God. And I think oftentimes that hinders us, I think, just as much as anything. We're so focused on what we're giving up, whether it's chocolate or soda or cake or whatever it may be, whatever little thing we want to get rid of for that period of time. We get so focused on that we totally forget that that's meant for a deeper purpose spiritually. This season of Lent is sort of different, as was our last Lent. And I think the world is undoubtedly in a place where we need God evermore. And what I want to invite you to do is something different with me this year. You know, one of the things John Wesley would often do is, as a requirement for those who wanted to be clergy, they had to fast every Wednesday and Friday, 2 days a week typically. Now, it got to a point where it was really only 1 day a week that he honestly really pushed for, but there was an expectation that was a normative practice, that was something that every clergy participated in. And, you know, obviously it's an invitation extended to those beyond clergy to participate in that. All of God's people are encouraged to practice fasting from time to time. So what I want to invite you to do is, I'm going to put a link down in the description of this video. I'm going to make sure you guys have access to that. But I want to invite you to join me this season of Lent, every Friday during Lent. You know, starting from Thursday dinner, ending with Friday dinner. You know, roughly 24 hours. I want to invite you to join me in fasting. And not just fasting, but on that website, there's actually a morning, a midday, a noon, and an evening worship liturgy. It's meant to invite us into God's presence. And so what I want to invite you to do with me is spend some time fasting on Fridays during Lent, but also to spend time praying, to listening to God, to spend time really trying to hear God. Not for what we want to hear, not what we think we should hear, not what we preconceive being the right thing, but really listening. Really spending time quieting our soul with no agenda to just hear God. One of the ways I want to invite you to do that with me is every Friday morning at 9 a.m. We're going to be joining together in that liturgy together. If you want to join me, we're going to do that via Zoom. I'm actually going to be inviting a number of clergy from our cluster area to join us as well, but to just really listen to God, to offer that time to God, to spend time together and alone if you need be, but to be intentional about not just listening, but really hearing. We have ears. Let's use them. Have a great week.